Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the broadcast. Redirecting Our Curfew Kids, or ROC, is now in place to help improve student attendance in Cleveland schools and develop a partnership between parents and schools. Cleveland Municipal Court Judge Emanuela Groves and Attendance Director at Cleveland Metropolitan School District Lori Hobson are both here to tell us more about the new program. And later on, we'll hear from Kathleen Crowther of the Cleveland Restoration Society and Cleveland City Councilman Jeff Johnson. They'll tell us about the Heritage Home Program. Later in the broadcast, after that, Byron and William Calhoun will talk about pre-planning for funerals. It's a good thing, too. We have to do that eventually, you know. Good morning. I'm Leon Bibb. This is Kaleidoscope, and so we begin. We've got Emanuela Groves, Your Honor, the judge from Cleveland Municipal Court, with us, and Lori Hobson, Attendance Director for the Cleveland School District. Good to have you with us.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Tell us, Your Honor, as I always like to say, Your Honor, Judge Groves, Directing Our Curfew Kids, or ROC. What is this program? It's
a program to address the minor curfew violations that we have within the city of Cleveland. Surprisingly, one day we had probably just in one day, over 40 cases of minor curfew violations. And as we begin to look at the numbers, we saw that we have almost 3,000 violations per year. About half are daytime violations and the other half are evening violations. And so we began to talk, and we met with the municipal school district, juvenile court, to begin to look at how can we address this problem, to be proactive as opposed to just giving the parent a fine and sending them on their way.
And what are the curfews we're talking about now? When are kids in violation?
Well, during school time, they have to be at school.
In school. If school is open, you need to be in class.
And if they're on the street, that's a violation, even though it's daytime. For the evening, for 12 and under, the time limit is 6 p.m., dusk. And for 13 to 14, the time period is 9:30. And 15 to 16-year-olds, they're supposed to be home by 11, and 17 is midnight.
That's a good thing. Get home and be safe.
That's absolutely true.
Lori Hobson, Attendance Director for the Cleveland Schools. What is our attendance? Where are we right now with that? Paint a picture of this.
Well, the state requires that the school district achieves a 93% attendance rate, and the district is working diligently to accomplish that goal. Now, we have not reached 93% over the years. However, programs such as the ROC, this type of collaborative, will build positive tools for our parents and students to help us reach that 93%.
Lori, what's ROC going to do now? How do we make this work?
Oh, this is how we make it work. First of all, my hat's off to Judge Groves for spearheading this collaborative and for giving us the opportunity to provide parents with meaningful strategies, such as parents can exchange that daytime curfew violation for being involved in the school district on 3 different occasions, such as parent-teacher conference or open house or volunteering in the school as it's appropriate for parents to do so. That way, it's not just about doing something, but it's about doing something that's meaningful for both the parent and the student.
So, Judge Groves, when a youngster is in trouble with the curfew violation, you just kind of lasso that parent and bring that parent on in there and say, now listen, we all got to work together on this.
That's right. And it's interesting because at this point the minor is not cited. The parent is cited because, of course, the parents are supposed to be responsible for their children.
Yeah, that's an old concept that still works well, and it never will go away.
So by bringing the parent into court, since we are an adult court, we do not have jurisdiction over the minor. So by the adult being involved, we will now notify juvenile court. We did a sampling of 100 minor curfew violations, and these are for the adults. And juvenile court then looked at those names, and they hit 80 of those names. Either the adult was involved in some way as with the abuse or neglect, paternity as an issue, and then the juvenile may have been involved either as being on probation or having some type of traffic violation. So now we're also going to begin to share that information with juvenile court. So if you have a minor who the adult is cited, they can check to see whether or not that minor is on probation, and then that minor can be addressed through juvenile court.
So we're telling our parents out there, if you got a youngster at home and the youngster's in trouble with curfew violations, you're going to have to speak to the judge.
Absolutely.
You're going to have to see the judge.
That's right.
And we're really trying to make this work. My notes say that more than 3,000 curfew violation tickets in 2011, half of them to minors on the streets during school hours. This has got to be something, Lori, that lays heavy on your heart. We got to fix this.
It does. It's a significant number. It's far too many students who are not in the classroom, and we want the students in the classroom. And as we spoke about opportunities for the parent to be engaged, there are also opportunities for the student to take responsibility for their role in being an offender of daytime or nighttime curfew. And with that being said, we're leaving the discretion to principals to redirect those students to programs after school, programs that offer academic support. It could be math enrichment. The principal would know best what is needed for that student in order for that student to achieve their goals. So through the municipal court, we have this authority that kind of tells a parent, hey, something has to be done, and this is what you need to do before the issue can be dismissed.
And of course, you picked the moniker ROCK, redirecting our curfew kids. I mean,
yes.
We rock and roll in this city. but that name is working very well for you in this program, isn't it, Judge?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, so,
yes.
Well, let's hope that everybody does the right thing. By the way, I'm going to put a phone number on the screen if we have not already done so, where you can get more information on all of this. 664-6787. That's clevelandmunicipalcourt.org. That's the Cleveland Municipal Court number, or you can call the Cleveland School number, 592-7228. Both of these are 216 area codes, and you can find Cleveland Schools. Their website is cmsdnet.net. More information on everything we're talking about. Your Honor, good to have you.
Good seeing you.
Here in the studio, away from the courtroom, but here. Good to have you out of the school building.
Thank you.
Here at the studio as well. Thank you very much. Emanuela Groves, Cleveland Municipal Court Judge, and Lori Hobson, Attendance Director for the Cleveland Metropolitan School District. We're going to take a break. In a moment, I'll be right back. We're going to talk about preserving historic homes after we do this first. Welcome back to more Kaleidoscope. Good to have you with us on this part of the broadcast. Good to have you with us every Sunday here on Kaleidoscope. This is what we're going to talk about. If your home is more than 50 years old and you're planning some renovations, the Cleveland Restoration Society can provide expert advice. Its president, Kathleen Crowther, and Cleveland City Councilman Jeff Johnson are here to talk about the Heritage Home Program and explain the types of assistance available to owners of historic and older homes. Kathleen Crowther, good to have you with us, and you too, Jeff Johnson.
Thank you.
What's the mission of the Cleveland Restoration Society?
Our mission is to promote historic preservation, the conservation of our architectural heritage here in the city of Cleveland. Our raison d'etre is to stand by historic buildings when they're endangered, and to try and provide some measure of assistance to encourage owners of older properties and landmarks to preserve those buildings and reinvest in them.
Do you want to keep that old look, the look that was built when it was built?
Well, yes, we're not stuck in the past either. What we want to do is conserve the assets that we have in the city of Cleveland that are really valuable assets. Our city was built at a time when craftsmanship, there was great pride of craftsmanship. And think of the theaters downtown, the churches in our neighborhoods, and the houses are part of that. You know, we have some really fantastic, sturdy, beautiful homes in Cleveland that are worthy of preservation.
Jeff Johnson is a councilman from the Ward 8 council on the east side of Cleveland, Ward 8. Councilman Johnson, always good to see you, Jeff.
Always, yeah.
What's your involvement in this now?
Well, you know, I'm first of all a big supporter of historic preservation. I'm really trying to lead the fight at City Hall to you know, improve our process of saving these homes. But I also, my ward uses this program significantly. St. Claire Superior is a neighborhood I represent, and Glenville. You know, your home
my
neighborhood. You know, and it's such a major asset that Cleveland. We are a beautiful, historic city. And so this program has been brought about so that we can continue to maintain it. Otherwise, it deteriorates and we have to tear them down. And it breaks my heart when we have to tear these homes down.
So we're trying to actually put some money in pockets of some people to restore their homes to the old way. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, first of all, we provide technical assistance, and we're a nonprofit organization. So we're not trying to sell anybody, you know, some type of fix-up of your home. What we're trying to do is make sure that people take the right approach, save money where there's an opportunity, do the things that are the first things to do to preserve the house. And then secondly, as we also have a low interest loan program. So in the councilman's ward, for example, if there is an owner of an older house who wants to put in a new kitchen or new bathroom, those are very popular upgrades. We can finance that through our low interest loan program, and we have a very attractive rate, 1.4%, to do that. So that we have partners in that, and it's because it's for the good of the community.
Right now, I've got 10,000 people at least out there listening to your words, and they're looking for pencil and paper to. Now, how do they go about this now? How do they apply for this?
They contact our staff, and we talk to them on the phone first and learn about what their interests are in improving their house, what kind of work they'd like to have done. And if it goes to the next step, we can make a site visit, help identify the challenges associated with the house and the desires and dreams of the homeowner, and we even write specifications for bid to help get competitive bids, and we can finance the project in certain instances.
Begins with a phone call to 426-3116. That's in the 216 area code, as you see at the bottom of the screen, or heritagehomeprogram.org. More information on everything we're talking about. Jeff Johnson, why do you see this as vital to this city of Cleveland?
Because you know, we have lost population over the years, and part of what is unique to keep population and bring people back is what are the things that make us strong. And one of the major areas is that this city has neighborhoods that is so strong that we need to continue to preserve. Mount Pleasant, Glenville, Detroit Shoreway. And you walk through these neighborhoods, you see the pride of people in their homes, but you know, it's very expensive. And that's where the Cleveland Restoration Society steps in. If we lose these homes, if we lose these neighborhoods, Cleveland doesn't become, you know, what we need.
There is no reason for a house because it's got 60 or 70 or 80 years to be falling over.
That's right.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you go to Europe, you will find houses that are 300 years old and still standing. In London, right where the Olympics were played.
Good point.
That kind of thing. Does this go beyond the city of Cleveland now?
Actually,
do you
it
work
does.
Beyond Cleveland?
Yes, we do. We work in the suburbs of Cuyahoga County, and we also have our Heritage Home Program in Canton, Akron, and Greene in adjacent suburbs. So we're actively in the process of expanding the Heritage Home Program, and that's why we're here to talk about it and asking people to go to the internet and the one phone for the program.
That phone number is 216-426-3116, as you see at the bottom of the screen, or heritagehomeprogram.org. More information on everything we're talking about. Kathleen Crowther, president of the Cleveland Restoration Society, and Jeff Johnson, councilman from Ward 8, City of Cleveland. Good to have you on the broadcast.
Thank you.
Always good information coming from two great people. Well, we'll continue to talk about Kaleidoscope, pre-planning for funerals. In a moment, I'll be back. Welcome back to Kaleidoscope. Good to have you with us. Planning ahead ensures that your wishes are carried out when you pass on, and we all pass on. William Calhoun is founder of Stewart and Calhoun Funeral Home in Akron, and Byron Calhoun is director of Calhoun Funeral Home in Cleveland, and they are here to share information about the funeral pre-planning process and about the services typically provided by funeral homes. Good to have you with us, William and Byron, father and son.
It's a real honor to be here.
Yeah. Tell us about this. I mean, one of the things I said, and I kind of said it with a smile on my face just a moment ago, is we all pass on.
And
that's a fact we have to deal with, isn't it?
That is very, very true. And the most important thing is for a person to contemplate leaving a legacy. And the one thing that we are always wanting to do is to carry on the next generation as to what our life and our legacy and heritage was all about.
William, you are founder of Stewart and Calhoun Funeral Home in Akron, and your son Byron here is with Calhoun Funeral Home and Cremation Service here in Cleveland.
Yes.
Yeah. What should we keep in mind when we pre-plan, when we plan for ourselves or someone else perhaps? What do we have to keep in mind?
Well, it's good to keep in mind, what you would like your services to look like. I mean, pre-planning allows you an opportunity to get your wishes down on paper. Some families choose to, even extend and go ahead and fund that option. And at a time like that, we can discuss, what those funding options, may be. And it's easier to make those decisions in a more relaxed environment instead of at the time of need when you're kind of forced to make those decisions.
Yeah. Do a large percentage of the population make pre-planning?
Definitely. It's becoming more and more popular because, like I said, you can get your wishes down on paper, and it gives families an opportunity to pre-fund that, and so they're not faced with or leaving the family with a large financial outlay at that time.
Yeah. William, what's your advice for someone who may be planning a funeral of a loved one for the first time?
I think that what they should actually do is sit down with their family, and you can contact any funeral home, and they actually have pre-planning booklets where you can actually take that booklet, write out your wishes. Then after you've done that, you sit and discuss, the things that are most important to you and your loved ones, and then after that you contact your funeral director and actually put it down in writing.
Yeah.
And it gives an opportunity for your legacy, to live on.
Sometimes that's a difficult conversation to have.
It is. No one likes to think, that they are going to pass away. But again, it's actually a fact of life. We are all headed towards the grave, and I think, all of us begin to realize the older that we get, that is something that we have to plan. We plan for everything else in life, such as we carry hospitalization. We hope we never get sick. Right. We carry fire insurance. We hope our house never catches on fire. But the one thing, if we live long enough, we're going to die.
Going to be leaving here.
That's for sure.
Byron, what's the cost of funerals today? I mean, I know you can have this and you can have that. And there's a lot in the middle.
A lot in between.
But generally speaking, where do funerals run now?
Average cost is probably somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,500, and they can be upwards of that, or they can be less than that, depending upon how elaborate someone would like their service to be, or how simple they would like their services to be. And that's one thing that we try to do at Calhoun Funeral Home, is to customize the services to meet the financial need of every family that we serve.
Mm-hmm. And if you do this pre-planning, you can do this without the grief that may be hanging over you the day after dad died or mom died or whomever died.
Correct. It gives you an opportunity not to make an emotional decision, but to make the best decision, because you're not faced with all the emotional process that comes with grief. You can sit down there and really look at hey, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to spend? Instead of like, oh, I just really want to get this done because I'm grieving at this time.
Yeah. Do you ever tell folks when they come in, and do you tell them this is what I think you want, or they may not know what they want? So how do you guide a family?
Well, our firm, we've been in business now for over 50 years, and we've probably met just about every difficulty or every problem that a family could face. And so we might make suggestions, but we never tell a family what they should do. But we make suggestions of our past experience, what we have found what was correct or what most fit with, their legacy. And then we actually leave it up, to them.
There was a member of my family a couple of years ago who passed away close to the age of 90. And she had actually paid for the funeral years before, had selected the casket, had selected the dress she wanted to be buried in, and that dress hung in the closet under a plastic bag with a note on it, this is the one. Yes. And when it came time for that time, everything was taken care of. There was very little decision that had to be made on the part of we survivors. Do you see this often, Byron, this kind of thing?
Yes, we do. It's happening more and more often. As I say, people would like to get their wishes down, and they have an idea what they would like their services to look like. And because of that, you know, people are even going to the extent of, you know, even writing their own obituary, selecting, as you just mentioned, you know, the clothing, stating, hey, that, you know, I want my service even, you know, on a Saturday or, you know, or a Monday or a Tuesday. And at that time, it really relieves the family of a lot of emotional burden, and they're just happy to be able to execute the wishes of the family.
I want to put a phone number on the screen here and website addresses as well. For Calhoun Funeral, you can go to 216-738-0300. That's here in Cleveland. And go to calhounfuneral.com. And for Stuart Calhoun, you're located in Akron. This father-son, it's all in the family. It's all in the family. You can go to 330-535-1543, and you can go to stuartcalhoun.com. What do you tell folks to keep in mind, other than we began with you because you're the elder of the two, to keep in mind other than the fact that we're all leaving?
What their loved ones' wishes are. You know, I think that no matter how long you live, you want to leave behind certain things to your family, a legacy of love, a legacy of devotion, a legacy of goodwill, and those are all things that transcend the grave. Mm-hmm. And I think that by writing those things down, by, you know, letting others know about those things, it leaves what we're willing to let our family know what our life wishes were.
William Calhoun, founder of Stuart and Calhoun Funeral Home in Akron, and Byron Calhoun, director of Calhoun Funeral Home and Cremation Service here in Cleveland. Thanks so much for being on the broadcast.
Pleasure and honor.
We appreciate it. You really answered a lot of questions a lot of people have out there and didn't want to talk about. But I'm glad you're here to talk about it, and I want to talk about those kinds of things. I'm going to take a break in just a moment. We'll return with Alima Samad of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland with a commentary. Back after this. Welcome back to more of Kaleidoscope. You know, we are partnered with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, and with us is Alima Samad, who is a business advisor for the small business development area of the Urban League of Greater Cleveland with a commentary today. Hey, Alima.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I'm just fine. I'm just fine.
Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm here today to talk about the exciting things that are happening at the Small Business Development Center. Okay. Our mission is to help people start, sustain, and grow their business. Mm-hmm. And we do that through training and education, workshops, and one-on-one counseling. The one workshop that we're having is a workshop coming up on August the 27th, and it's entitled How to Transition from Employee to Employer, which is a great platform for a lot of people in Greater Cleveland that are unemployed.
How to get from working for somebody to running the show.
Exactly, and it's a mindset.
Yeah.
We talk a lot and counsel a lot about the mindset of an entrepreneur and what it takes to build a successful business. But I think having this workshop is really going to have people understand the steps involved with transitioning, because it's not going to come every 2 weeks like your paycheck comes.
Right.
It's going to come after proper planning. It's going to come after really delving into what your product is or what your service is and how is it going to impact a volume of people.
So you're trying to get who can come to these?
Anyone. Anyone that's interested in starting a business. Anyone that's interested, or maybe a lot of our clients or a lot of business owners, a lot of adults, young adults are unable to find work, or are facing layoff, or have their severance, and they're like, what am I going to do with it? And they're choosing to invest in the start of a small business.
Again, when is this conference going to be?
The date is August 27th from 9:30 a.m. until 12:30 p.m. And you can register at our website at entrepreneurohio.org.
Entrepreneurohio.org.
Yes.
And where is this event going to be?
It's going to be at the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, which is 2930 Prospect Avenue, and it's going to be in our multimedia room. So it'll be a lot of
August the 27th, and you begin at 9:30 in the morning.
Yes.
And the Urban League is located at the corner of East 30th Street and Prospect Avenue in the Midtown section of Cleveland, not too far from Channel 5 where we're sitting.
Exactly.
Right now.
I walked down this morning.
It's a good.
Right.
It's a good walk too.
Right.
Thank you, Alima.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I'm good.
Kaleidoscope, a weekly public affairs program brought to you in partnership with the Urban League of Greater Cleveland, Kaleidoscope Magazine, and News Channel 5.